Welcome to the House of Garb.
Yeah.
Hello guys, it's Jeff with the House of Garb, and I'm here to make a quick video. This will be my first video, at least on YouTube. House of Garb is a clothing company that I just started, and we are offering all kinds of different items. We're doing vinyl stickers and heat transfer vinyl, and also doing some heat transferred shirts, Plastisol ink transfers, and soon we will be doing some screen printing. So this is a new adventure for me. I've owned a couple different side businesses and everything, and I've always been quite the entrepreneur, but that's not the reason of this video. The reason for this video is I wanted to show you, I bought some heat transfers. This is my first time actually purchasing heat transfers. I've purchased, or I've got samples from a few different companies, from heat transfer companies. If you don't know what a heat transfer is, it's basically, at least the ones I'm using are Plastisol ink transfers. So basically you have like a sheet of paper, and you design something like on Photoshop or Illustrator, and you create a design and you submit it to a printing company, who then takes these sheets, or not, this isn't one, but this is actually something else, but I'm just kind of showing it as an example. If this were the paper, they would screen print the paper, and they would screen put their print on it, and then they use like this powder, this like an adhesive powder, and while the ink is still wet, they put this powder on it, and it's like an adhesive, and then they dry the ink. So then you can actually cut out, if you have multiple designs on a sheet, you can actually cut out all your designs and use those to transfer your design onto a t-shirt. So it's actually a pretty cool concept, especially when you don't have the room for like maybe a screen printing machine or something like that, or it's just another option. As far as I know, with the research I've done and from talking to other people, Plastisol heat transfers have come a long way. They're not your typical, like if you go to like, I don't know, Myrtle Beach and stuff like that, and you see like little shops that have little heat transfers you put on a shirt. Most of those are really cheap transfers. They're not like Plastisol. Plastisol tends to last the life of the shirt most of the time. It just depends on the quality of the heat transfer. But you get what you pay for. Heat transfers can tend to be a little bit expensive, but they last. So as far as screen printing versus heat transfer, screen printing is always going to be a little better, but the versatility of the heat transfer is also there too. So in the long run, a Plastisol heat transfer is going to last just as long as another shirt, or as a screen printed shirt, sorry. Yeah, a Plastisol heat transfer is going to last just as long as a screen printed shirt, as long as it's applied right and taken care of correctly. It means when you wash it, a lot of times you turn your shirts inside out. Like if this was a Plastisol, which it's not, but if it was a Plastisol heat transfer, if when I take this shirt off and I go to wash it, I'm going to want to turn it inside out before I stick it in the washer. And it just that protects the shirt, and it protects the outside of the shirt from maybe touching the hottest part of the dryer. Like when it's in the dryer, you definitely don't want your ink touching like the side of the dryer where it might be a little too hot. Things like that might help. And anyway, I wanted to show you, I actually placed an order for some heat transfers from a place called FM Expressions. I believe that's the name of them. And let's dig in. This is what I got. Let me go ahead and turn the camera real quick so you can see what I got. Alright, so this is the box. We got lots of bubble wrap, lots more bubble wrap, lots more bubble wrap. We got a little invoice here. No need to see that. But these are my heat transfers. And as you can see, they're just a bunch of different things. One thing you will notice is that everything is in reverse. The reason is it's in reverse is here's your inks and stuff here, okay? And this is just a single color. You can get these in multiple color, but you know, it gets more expensive the more colors you use. So basically, let's take like the House of Garb logo here. Get a little closer so you can understand. I'll use the big one for example. So you got the House of Garb logo. This is the part that's facing you right now is actually the part that goes against the shirt. So when I actually apply it, I will turn it over and apply it to the shirt. And this is the paper backing, and once it's heat transferred, you can peel the backing, and it's permanent. You know, this is very good quality print, and maybe we'll do a print here in a little bit. And basically, this is what you call a gang up sheet. As you can see, I have tons of different designs all on one sheet, and that's what's cool about doing heat transfers. Is if I was doing screen printing, I wouldn't be able to do something like this, because my screen would be here, and it'd be really difficult to screen print one design at a time. I'd literally have to put tape over all the designs except for the one I was using currently to do something like that. This, I can literally take a pair of scissors and cut out the designs I want, and I can cut that design out and apply it to a shirt. The other thing is I'm getting charged for one sheet. I've got quite a few sheets here, but what I'm saying is I'm getting charged for the one sheet. I pay per sheet, but I'm getting more for my money basically when I do it this way. So here I've got 1, 2, 3. That's basically all the same, but I've got 4 of that same one. So let's say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 8 designs on here. Plus this one I have 4 of it. But it's basically 8 separate designs. And the reason what these are little ones here, are actually going to go on the back of the shirt, like right underneath the tag on the outside of the shirt, just for our designs. And the rest of them are all different shirts that I've done designs for, and I don't know. That's basically what I've got to show you. Just wanted to show you Plastisol heat transfers and what they are. Let me go ahead and angle the camera back up again. Okay, so that's basically my introduction to Plastisol heat transfers. Plastisol, you keep hearing me mention that for people that maybe don't know. Plastisol is actually a type of ink in the screen printing industry. It's got a plastic type feel to it. I believe that's why they call it Plastisol. I may be wrong, but that's my take on it. Is I'm guessing that's why it's called Plastisol, is because it has kind of a plastic feel to it. Plastisol tends to last a long time. Don't get it. It's not that it's puffy. Plastisol does not mean puffy. You can get puffy Plastisol ink, but that's a specialty ink. Regular Plastisol, it just basically, most of your screen printed shirts are printed with Plastisol ink. There is water-based ink, but most water-based ink screen prints don't last that long. It's one of those, you might have it for a special event or something, like a family reunion. Like that shirt you're probably going to wear for 1 year. You might wear it one day. You might not wear it ever again. It's okay to use like a water-based ink for something like that if you were screen printing. But we're not screen printing today. We're doing Plastisol heat transfers. So anyway, maybe I'll show you transferring one of these transfers onto a shirt. So stay tuned. And just like that, we're back. What do you know? So we were just talking about the Plastisol heat transfers, and I am going to talk about how I'm going to apply them to the shirt. So I got some shirts, and I got a nice quality shirt. I got some Bella canvas, and so they're really soft blend shirt, cotton poly blend. And I cut out some of these transfers. So that way I can actually use them, different ones. And I figured I'd do this one. And you're probably thinking, what is Dopeless? Dopeless is a clothing brand that I have kind of launched, I guess. You want to call it launching. Not like a rocket, but like a clothing brand. Yeah, dad joke. Pretty stale. Anyway, Dopeless is basically like a clothing brand that I started. And basically behind this is addiction, like drug addiction and alcohol addiction. And Dopeless is for, people who are in recovery and are no longer using. So you're dopeless. That's my thought behind it. And I figured I would use that for my first shirt, a Dopeless. I have a couple other Dopeless designs, but this is going to be my first one. And I just want to see, if there's any interest in people with the Dopeless design. I thought the thought behind it's kind of cool. I wanted to do a recovery shirt, and if you don't know, I'm in recovery. I'm actually in just a few days, but by the time this is uploaded, I'll be pretty close. November 1st will be 9 years for me, so I'm pretty proud of that. And it took a lot of work, and I have a pretty crazy little past, and I'm glad it's in my past now. And I have nothing but good to say about recovery. I've gotten so much out of it, and become I guess if you want to call it normal person. To this day I'll never be normal, but I'm as normal as I can be, especially without the dope. So that's my whole thing behind this. So I definitely have a passion behind Dopeless. I can't really see it there. There you go, Dopeless. So I don't know if you like that or not, but it's my first little design. It's kind of it kind of has that vintage look to it, I guess. So I thought that would be cool to see, people wearing that, or I like it. I mean, hopefully you like it too. But we're gonna apply that to the shirt. If you haven't noticed, I ramble a lot. Hopefully you don't mind. So let's work on applying this to the shirt. And let me adjust the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and I'll be right back. And as you can see, I've got the shirt laying down here on the table. I've got my Dopeless design, and like I said, this is the actual ink right here. On the back here is just like it's like paper. It's a special paper used for these heat transfers. And what we'll do is we'll end up putting it upside down onto the shirt, apply heat to it using a heat press. You can see the heat press right here behind me. It's warming up right now. And basically heat press is a machine basically that uses heat. It's not like an iron. An iron, you wouldn't be able to get consistent heat throughout the whole thing. The way a heat press works is it'll press consistent pressure and consistent heat across the whole design. And the type of pressure you need for these heat transfers can't be done with an iron. You wouldn't be able to get it right. So that's what we're going to be using. We'll be using a heat press, and basically I'm going to place this on the shirt. And I have a tool right here as I'm pulling on the shirt with my leg, and things keep falling off the table. Woohoo! Okay, so anyway, this is a T-square it. And the way this works is I take the design, let's see if I get this right. I have like little arrows here, and they're gonna go, the top arrow, if I am correct, the top arrow, the bottom arrow, the best way. The bottom arrow, I believe, goes on the very bottom. If you see the ring of the shirt here, you want the bottom arrow to go there. So, and that'll help me find the center. And then there's like little arrows here on the sides that are numbered, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, and they go out further. So basically you'll want to line those up with the seams by the numbers to make sure you're in the center of the shirt. So that's what I'm doing here now. I'm doing this now just to kind of look to see where my design's gonna go. So right now I'm kind of looking and seeing where we need to be, and it looks like right about there is perfectly centered. So now I know I'm centered, and now we've got arrows here going down, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, like that, in inches. And on my transfer, I have little lines. I don't know if you can see them. You can see them. You can see like the little lines I drew. Those are basically like showing me where the top of the design, the bottom of the design is. That way, because I can't really see through the white paper very well. So I'm going to put the design underneath, and I like the top of the design to go about 3 inches from that seam. So right about there is 3 inches. Okay, and then there's another part to this T-square it, and what I do with it is I put it down here. So basically what it does is now I can center the design up this way. Now I've got it centered this way, but now I need to center it this way. So what I'm doing, and I'm actually looking at it, and I'm actually just about there. It looks like, boom, right there is perfect. So now my design is perfectly where I want it. So there's that. And I forgot that I actually have to pre-press the shirt. What you do is, you put no design on it or anything, you take the shirt and you put it in the heat press. You bring it down for just a couple seconds, and all that does is it gets all the moisture out of the shirt. You don't want any moisture in your shirt. All shirts are going to have moisture in them at all times, but applying the heat to them gets all the moisture out. It's just like if you were painting a house, you wouldn't want to paint a house after it rained, or even when it was like early in the morning when there's still dew out because of the moisture. It's best to paint, you know, on a really hot sunny day when it's not, you know, there's not a lot of moisture out. You just, you know, the paint applies a lot better. It's kind of like, you know, putting that what do you call that, the pre-coat of paint on. So anyway, so now I'm gonna have to replace my design, which won't take long with that T-square. Let me grab that real quick. So here's the T-square, and you remember, like I showed you, I can literally do this pretty quick. Just checking that I'm centered, and to me, looks like I'm pretty centered already. Yes. So now that is centered, and then I take the other edge, put that here. Got to put my design under. And so I know I want to go about 3 inches down, and that's where the top will be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this real quick so I can make sure it's at 3. That's 3, so it's 3 inches down. And I just now want to make sure that it's centered. So I'm moving it around as we're trying to do this. Okay, so my mark here and a mark here. I know you can't really see what I'm doing. I'm sorry, I don't really have a cameraman. So, looks like it's about 5 inches long. I got a 5-inch mark. And it looks like it needs to come over to the left just a hair. And that looks good there. So, there's my design. And I have it centered both ways. And that's how you basically get your design centered. So yeah, I think that looks really good right there. So next step would be to press it. So the way this is, these transfers, they actually press for 7 seconds at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I've already set my heat pressed for 7 seconds at 350, and it's all heated up, ready to go. So let's give it a press and see what we get. 1, 2. As I shake the camera. And there's my alarm. So that means I can go ahead and click on the press. Notice it's like, it says 7 seconds, but like a little longer. And this is a hot peel, so it means to peel the paper off. Now remember how it had that dopeless on there? See, it's gone. It's not there anymore because it's on the shirt. So let me show you the shirt. And you tell me what you think. Here's your dopeless shirt. And if you can actually look really closely, if it'll focus, I don't think it'll focus, but it's got like a real nice feel to it. Like, it's not like puffy or anything like that. It has basically become part of the shirt. So it's just like a screen printed shirt. In fact, it is screen printed. It's just you are applying the screen print to the shirt afterwards, after it's already been screen printed. So it's kind of cool to get those screen prints like that. You're gonna get the same quality. But anyway, there's a dopeless shirt. If you would like more information on how to get these shirts, or if you are interested in getting a shirt made, or basically I can't do one shirt, but I can do multiple shirts, go ahead and hit me up on YouTube, and we'll see what we can do. And with that, have a good day, and this is the House of Garb checking out.